Good morning. Welcome to the Java Cafe, Java fam.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Today is, I hate this hat, time for new hats. Good morning. Today is Tuesday, July 23rd, 2024, and you are in the Java Cafe. So glad to have you here this morning. Listen, before I bring my guest in, for those of you that follow me on social media, probably got tired of my updates on Twitter and Facebook last night, but just wanted to shout out that last night, and this is a partisan statement. Everybody knows who I'm with for the election. I want to say between all the platforms and what I saw on social media, there were, at last count I saw, there were close to 130,000 Black men on a call last night to support the new. She did secure the delegates while that was going on last night. So that said, just want to shout out all the Black men that showed up last night and dispelled some of the things about us. But anyway, along with everything else that's going on this month, getting ready for an election, this is also, I say, BIPOC, Men's Mental Health Month. And also the celebration of, I believe, the American Disabilities Act. And we have had a couple of guests so far this month that talked about, I say, unique abilities. Our sister the other day, Ness Monet, said, no, I boldly say I have disabilities. And so we're learning a lot. And we're going to further the conversation today with a good brother by the name of Marlon Moore. He's coming in to talk about his work around advocacy, specifically with young people that are dealing with unique abilities. And so without further ado, I would like to bring him in. He's a recent graduate, and we'll hear more about that. An educated Black man, and excited to have him here this morning. So Marlon, good morning. Happy Tuesday. How are you, sir?
Good morning. Good morning. And I'm doing great. I'm so pleased and so happy to be a part of this and honored that you chose me to be a guest on here.
I'm glad to have you here. So let's jump right in. Tell us a little about yourself, and if you can. And it's funny because I saw Roland Martin doing this last night. Turn your volume down where the program is playing, because we're getting a little bit of feedback.
Mm-hmm.
All right, now can you still hear me though?
Yes.
Okay, good, perfect. Okay,
we're good.
Okay, good. Tell us a little bit about who you are, where you're from, and a little bit about your journey, how you but destined or landed in this space of advocacy.
Yeah, so I'm originally from Memphis, Tennessee, and I moved to Atlanta, Georgia, and pretty much have been in Atlanta, Georgia my entire adolescent to young adult life, essentially. And from there, so let me back up a little bit as well. So I was born with a disability called spina bifida, and spina bifida is essentially a neuro disability where it affects your spine as well as some elements of your brain. So you might have some learning disabilities, but also ultimately you're born with a physical disability, whether that's walking with a limp or being a wheelchair user. Yes. And so those are some of the things that come with spina bifida, and as well as wearing leg braces or AFOs, which is, get it right here, which is also portrayed on a lot of my clothing that I came out with. And so essentially all my life I've been into fashion and into pop culture and things that are, of the now. And just as a kid, just the trendy topics and what pretty much is popular. And so because of that, I always wondered, why weren't there people with disabilities on the forefront or in the media, in fashion, and in different things that I was interested in those trendy things.
Mhm.
And when it got to about middle school, I began a liking into sneakers. And because of that, I had an array of different sneakers of such. And because of that, I was like, let me create a clothing brand that would match the sneakers that I have with my braces that I have. So, for example, when it comes to leg braces or AFOs for the terminology, medical terminology, AFOs are created for those people that with spina bifida or cerebral palsy. And so, when you go to the hospital to get them created, you have the option of getting them in whatever color you want, whatever design you want, and pretty much adding anything that you want to it to make it uniquely your own. And so I associated that with how people and myself go sneaker shopping. And so,
Okay. Yep.
and so, for example, that is where the start of my clothing brand idea began. And so I would match my shoes that I would buy with the color of my leg braces. So for a long time, and even now, I always went with the galaxy print. And so it was multiple colors, mostly purple. And so I would have the Jordan Black Grape Fives, for example. And I would always wear those. And whenever I wore shorts, I would wear that because it complemented my entire outfit. And so I was pretty much making my leg braces work with my style, as well as promoting that disability pride and utilizing what is considered something negative as something positive and a part of my look and a part of my personality. And so changing that leg braces as something as just an assistive device, but also adding another meaning to it as something that is fashionable, but then also, like I said, something that's just a part of my life and a part of who I am and my personality. And so going forward, once I got into high school, I wanted to take it a step further because I still didn't see much of people with physical disabilities portrayed in media and in fashion, and really saw a lack of, not just within me, because my clothing brand definitely helped with my confidence and my disability pride, but within my friends that have disabilities as well, in really owning and being prideful in the elements of disability, the elements within the disability community. Like for example, I keep using the leg brace, for example, because that's the nearest and dearest to me.
Yes, sir.
But a leg brace, for example, like I said, changing that narrative that a leg brace is only an assistive device and not something that can be customized, like I was just saying, or can be
Fashionable.
fashionable. Exactly. And so, really, just owning up to the idea that this is a part of me and this isn't something that's negative. This can be something that you can embrace and really make your own. And so that's how I started the Conscious Kid brand and my clothing brand, and putting elements of different disability related elements within the community onto t-shirts and onto clothing to really pop out and really say that these things are not just medical devices, or these things aren't just part of disability in a negative way. These things are really cool. Like to have a leg brace that you can customize, you can put your own sport teams on there. You know, you can do cheetah print, you can do so much things with it. But when you only look at it as something that helps you walk, or something that, you know, is just a medical device, it takes away from, excuse me, that pridefulness and that idea that you have this and this is your own unique, you know, contribution to your personality, as well as promoting that awareness to others that don't know much about it.
Absolutely. You just a note real quick, and I want to go into something that you said, and it's getting a lot of love. On Instagram, you got a lot of love going on Instagram. CEO Hondro, shout out to my dog Marlon. Sharon Manette, I'm proud of you, nephew. I think that's your aunt. And PMWC, something 100% on fire, an advocate for disability inclusion. I want to ask you, to, and if you could turn that down a little bit,
Yes,
I want to ask you to talk about disability pride. That is something that is, again, my former guest Ness Monet talked about it. I believe it was last week, and you mentioned it a couple of times, and it resonated with a couple of people that are watching in the audience. And so, through your fashion, you are actually promoting a different perspective of pride for young people, older people that have a disability. Talk a little bit about the pride of the disability, because that's a shift from, when we were growing up and people had disabilities, sometimes young people would tease. If people didn't understand, they would stare and, just be rude. We weren't as compassionate and understanding, maybe, and we still got a long way to go with compassion and understanding. But talk to me about your pride, sir, and and you can correlate how, your brand contributed, or how you put your personality into it. But talk about disability pride.
Yeah, so I'm gonna be honest with you. When I'm kind of gonna shift the topic to answer the question, and so pretty much the same with any quote unquote oppressed group, whether that is people that are black, just minority groups, things like that. The same way that we have shirts that say unapologetically black, it was the same kind of mindset that I had. So just me being black, black American, but then also just having a disability as well, I actually already had that kind of, what's the word,
Pride.
pride, but unspoken pride.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Unspoken pride, and pride that was overlooked.
Yeah.
That was often put down by society. So I already had that kind of underdog pride in a sense. And so that kind of fueled me to do disability pride, but not even just that, because of me being born with it. I have always felt like it never, I've never looked at my disability as something as a negative thing.
Yes,
And
sir.
so it always baffled me to, further learn that society sees it as that. And so when I found out that, more so, rather than just me, because I had that confidence within me, it was more so for those people that didn't have it, that have disabilities. I really wanted to push that, because I, at some point, wasn't really into, I'm gonna be honest, I really wasn't into disability and being prideful about it. Just like
Yes, sir.
anybody else, you find your
Yep.
you find your way. And
Yep.
so it got to a point where it was bigger than me. And so once I figured out, like, okay, I'm not gonna just do this for me, because if I do this for me, then I might stop. And so once I realized that I'll do this for the community, but then also, like I said, those that are close to me, because I have a lot of friends and I have a lot of people through my clothing brand, but also who I've met, and once again, friends that I've just noticed that really feel either defeated or they feel not worthy because of their disability, and they don't know how to contribute their perspective of their disability to be a part of the conversation, or to have a seat at that table. And so that was one of the things that I really wanted to push with my clothing brand, beyond it being fashionable. That was my way of reaching out to young teenagers and young adults, because that was the target audience that I really wanted to push, was that teens and young adults, because it's a crucial age when you're from that 13 to 18, when you're trying to find yourself, but then you're also trying to fit in. Like, you're still in school, you're trying to still be cool, and you might not be able to wear certain things because of your disability, but you have certain things already because of your disability that you can own up to and be prideful of. So it's more so of just taking ownership and taking pridefulness within what you already have, so that other people can be, there's a quote that my dad said, and it just made me think of it. He was like, make people want to be your friend. Make people
Yeah.
want to look up to you. Make people want to talk to you. Make people want to, just be around you.
Mhm.
And with that being said, it's that pridefulness with having your disability. Like, you don't shy away from the conversation, or you don't shy away from learning a lesson learned to other people when they're asking about your disability. So, like, for example, one of the things that I really would like to shift as well in conversation is it's okay when people ask you about your disability. You know, one of the big stereotypes is don't look, don't ask. And I encourage people to ask, especially if it's genuine. And so really just breaking those barriers so you could be more included, but then also be prideful within who you are and what you were blessed with, in a sense, because you can either look at it as a blessing or a burden. And in reality, it's never your hardships or your differences can either be a lesson that you teach, or it could be something that is always going to be a challenge to you. But when you learn to work with it or have it work for you, then you begin to blossom and become to your full potential.
Listen, folks, Marlon is definitely encouraging me right now. I know some of you pop in and can't always stay, and sometimes you take screenshots of information. This isn't in the comments yet, but this is where you can follow Marlon on IG for the clothing brand, which we're going to get into on the other end of this break real quick. But you are definitely inspiring, man. And I think it is so important to ensure that your perspective and voice is widespread, because there are a lot of, first of all, young people are just going through puberty, chemical imbalances, general fitting in and whatnot. Then let's, talk about young people who are young women, they got their own issues, and then young men. If in between there on that spectrum, they're, identifying themselves, their sexuality, you got that perspective. Then if you're another part with that of a marginalized community, being Black, then to have this disability. So, sir, your voice and your message and your advocacy and work is much needed, because someone getting the right coordination with that fit that they wanted to wear that particular day, that one day and that experience could change the trajectory of how they see themselves for the rest of their life. And so salute and kudos to you just on what we've heard so far. We're going to take a quick break and come back and go into the clothing brand, because we definitely want to make sure folks are aware. And in there, you can still share, parts of the story and whatnot. But we're going to take a quick break, folks, and we'll be right back with you in just a couple of seconds.
For the innovators, the dreamers, the risk takers, independent workers who keep our neighborhoods thriving, Connector Care from the Massachusetts Health Connector has plans for every lifestyle and budget.
Having access to affordable healthcare is for everyone in our community.
Connector Care plans help more people save on healthcare that covers all their needs. Find out if you qualify for Connector Care. Visit mahealthconnector.org or call 1-877-MA-ENROLL.
I'm a very sensitive person, and I feel the pain of my people. They know me, they call on me, and I assure them that I'm not a provider, but I am one who cares. I always say to them, well, it's better to know than not to know, because if you know, you can do something about it. Think about the loved ones around you. Think about the ones that love seeing you come through that door. Take the step and get tested. That's it.
Save lives and get screened for colon cancer. For more information, visit boston.gov/cancer.
Hey, everyone, if you're just joining, we have the pleasure this morning of speaking with Marlon Moore, who is the CEO and creator of the Conscious Kid brand. We're going to hear more about that in a minute. But Marlon, we were joking about the link that you come in, that folks got. Well, you got the message out, because they over there on Instagram, Moon the Barber talking about holding back the tears, Sheena for president telling Moon the Barber, you better cry. Moon the Barber is also saying they're so proud of you. And so you definitely have a good fan base and support system out there. And so if you all are just joining us, you need to go back and watch the rewatch and hear Marlon's story. It is definitely work that is needed, a message that is needed, an impact that is needed. And so let's talk about the Conscious Kid brand. Where did it come from? You were sort of doing this for you, I'm sure, and presume you may have had to do some research to be able to get the braces and things that you wanted for you to customize and whatnot. So you've done some foundational work to build this. How did it go from this just being about you to the Conscious Kid brand?
And I'm so glad you framed it like that, because I tell people all the time, people think that I went into this clothing brand, for lack of a better term, thinking of the disability community. But at first, it solely was about building up my own confidence and my own disability pride within myself. And so I definitely, going back to when I was saying that I've always been into fashion, and I've loved sneakers. I still do to this day. Love the fashion, streetwear fashion and things of that nature. And so I've always had a love for it, but I really wanted to create something for myself, as well as, like I said, for the disability community and those that are like me. So I had many friends that would be afraid to wear shorts because they didn't want to wear, they didn't want them to see their leg braces that they wore. And so really just building that confidence within those people was the driving force in creating the Conscious Kid brand. And so when it came to designs, it kind of just sprouted from things of physical disabilities to when I created my Instagram, talking to people within the deaf community, people with autism, cerebral palsy, Down syndrome. And so it just kind of like branched out to these different communities, and just learning about their story and realizing that all disabilities have a commonality when it comes to being discriminated against or having that overall lived experience as a person with a disability. And so really just promoting certain elements within each community, within the disability community, was the goal. And from there, it went into having partnerships, as well as things like this podcast, people wanting to know more, why do this. And my biggest thing when I say why do this is because it hasn't been done, and I feel like it's long overdue, the clothing brand, and pretty much just promoting disability pride and having your own. So one of the things that I forgot to mention is FUBU. So that is one of my inspirations as well.
Yeah.
So FUBU, the for us by us.
Let's come, sir.
So that was really one of the things. I tell people this all the time. I look at things and I'm like, how can I disabilify it? And I know that's not a word for it, but
wait. Because I'm known for making up words and most of the time screwing up, and it comes a word. Say it again.
Disabilify. Disabilify. So like I said.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Let me say it right. Disabilify.
Yeah, disabilify. And so I took the concept of FUBU, the for us by us, because initially it was created for the community, especially the Black community, but then also just the rap community.
Yep.
They really wanted to uplift the hip hop community. And so I was like, the Conscious Kid, let's create a clothing brand that's for people with disabilities and by people with disabilities, about people with disabilities. It's not just going to be putting disabled models in regular clothing that is nothing to do with disability. We're going to put in the forefront disability elements like leg braces, like hearing aids, wheelchairs. We're going to put that in the forefront because we're going to change the message of disability being a negative thing. We're also going to take that ownership within it. And so when it came to getting inspiration from FUBU, I wanted to really key in on making the community the face,
Yep.
as well as
Yep.
ensure that it is authentically created by those in the community and a great representation of those within the community as well.
This is definitely caught on Instagram, and you need to service mark that word very quickly. Disabilify, and folks are really caught onto it very, very quickly. Anissa has some notes here, but I go from the conversation. Have you ever done a fashion show?
So I have been a part of a fashion show. I've not
Have
solely
you
done
ever
one.
curated one?
Say that one more time.
Have you ever curated your own?
I haven't, and that's on the checklist. I will say that that is on the checklist. But I have been a part of a fashion show, and what I mean by that is I was in it, but also I had models with disabilities modeling my clothing brand within it. So it was a kind of like a community fashion show with different clothing brands promoting their own, and that's what I've done. I've done that, and I've done photo shoots as well, but not my own fashion show. Trust me, there's a lot of. I'm just on the surface. There's a lot of things that I really want to do with my clothing brand that I haven't either had the time to do or because of
Right.
school, like I said, but or just haven't really planned it out yet. Hmm.
You talk about your time and busy in school and whatnot. And so we're talking about you, we talked about the clothing brand, but you got a whole nother aspect of your advocacy and work that you do, which is with what I call the Dream Center. I know that's a church. I think it's an ATL. Shout out to Bishop William Murphy. But you also have a program called Dream.
Yeah.
And that is the disability rights education, activism, and mentoring that you're doing there at Georgia State.
Yes.
So in addition to everything else, tell us about that too.
Yeah, so Dream came about. So actually, Dream is a national organization, and Dream chapter at Georgia State University was or is an organization at Georgia State that kind of was dormant, I should say, and I kind of revamped it while at my time at Georgia State. And so back in 2022, I was in conversations with the Access and Accommodation Center or the Disability Center at Georgia State University, and I was like, why is there not an organization for students with disabilities to simply just relate to one another or just have a safe space to be able to talk about our lived experiences or just our experiences in general as students with disabilities on campus. And also we promote Black History Month, we promote Indigenous Peoples Day, all of these different minority groups, but the ones that always get overlooked, especially in a more structured environment like school or just work in general, is disability related awareness months or weeks or days. And so I really was pushing for at Georgia State to once again put people with disabilities on the forefront of their agenda as well as their image, because we are there and we don't get discounts. We're paying the same tuition as everybody else, and we are.
Wait, you said we don't get discounts?
We don't get discounts, so we're the same
as
every other student. But we're being excluded from not intentionally. I'll say that or say not intentionally, but we're being excluded or not presented a way into it with events and like fundraisers or things of that nature. So for example, just last just my last semester was the first time that a group of people with students with disabilities went into our movie theater that we have at Georgia State. And that's been there for years, but nobody went to it because, for one, there are some aspects that are our fault in a sense because we never took the initiative to get more information, but they also never presented us with information to know if the movie theater is accessible for wheelchair users, for those people with autism, if it's, too noisy, things of that nature. And so, it's like they say, the phone works both ways. And so they never, presented these things as inclusive. And so therefore we were, you know, um, we were put out of the way, or we were excluded unintentionally because there were no information for us to be a part of it.
It's interesting because Belinda just within a couple of seconds wrote, sometimes it's intentional getting excluded because of a disability. So it oh my God, dude, there's so much inspiration and energy that's coming from you. JB Allen Initiative, go Marlon, get the people educated, young sir. So you definitely got a lot of love going on over on Instagram. And so, you've taken the intersectionality of your disability, you've taken your love and desire for fashion, you've taken an element of advocacy that probably comes from either parents or just, being in community. And you're really creating a movement to change. And it's so interesting. We talked in the pre-show about, the call last night and being a Black man. And we talk about being seen. How important is it for you being a Black man? Presumably a lot of your clientele might be of color, young people. But how important is it to be able to be seen, and then through a lens where you're controlling, if you will, give me permission to use the analogy, you've made the glasses in which people are going to view you and your peers. How do you keep going, and what does the future look like? Because the importance of being seen, I think today, these last couple of years, when you had prominent leaders mocking people with disabilities, how important is it to be seen, and what's in the future for Marlon, the Conscious Kid brand? Let us know.
Yeah. So to answer your first question, seeing it as me being a Black person with a disability, I definitely have looked at those within the minority groups that have disabilities and really have been uplifting them. But it's more when it comes to disability and the topic of disability, as well as just advocacy in general. I tend to look at the disability community as a whole that's being marginalized, because and I hate to put it like this, but the beauty of disability struggle is that it's usually not discriminated by race. It's usually not. We're all in that same boat, and we're all usually being discriminated the same way because of our physical condition or our mental condition, things of that nature. And so I definitely tend to make sure that everyone, feels like they're being advocated for, as well as included. And so one of the things that I really wanted to, especially when it came to Dream, one of the things that I really learned just of my leadership as president of Dream was that learning about different people's struggle within the disability community. And that really was my most valuable lesson within my leadership at Dream, which was, so I can just give an example. So I've had people that were wheelchair users that were members of Dream, and I'd also have people that were using forearm crutches or just crutches to help them walk. And just knowing that my way of getting around school was not the same way for those people that were wheelchair users. For example, finding out that the library entrance of Georgia State was to a degree inaccessible to those people with larger wheelchairs. And so with that being said, I'd never had to go through that because I just walked through the sensor, the metal detector and such. And so just learning about different people's struggle, which really helped bring us all together and really understand that it's not a this person, because of their color, they are going through this. My classes are far from the main campus and I have to walk to that. And you have issues with actually studying because you can't get through the library door. And so figuring out that those two things align with both of our struggles really brought us together when it came to knowing that our struggle is your struggle and your struggle is our struggle. If that makes sense.
It makes so much sense on a manner. One, you educated me because by presumption, and it probably is true when I say this, you may kind of go back and look at the statement about, and again, I'm not taking away from your experience, your experience and observation as someone that moves in this space. You had mentioned that a lot of times the disability may be the discriminatory factor initially, if you will. But I would venture to say that unfortunately, even though that's the experience, I when it comes to Black and brown, sometimes with resources and services, there may
still. No, I 100%. I 100% agree. Okay. I'm not. I don't. I want to put on the record that I am not discounting at all.
Let me make it
the experience of us at all. But yeah. I just want to
as you should.
I want to reiterate though that a lot of people tend to think that a person that is white with cerebral palsy and a person that is Black with cerebral palsy might have more resources and might have
access,
more just out there more. But I still and this is I would say my humble opinion,
yes sir,
that the experience of having that disability is still there. The exclusion is still there, and the idea that you are less than that person without a disability is still there. And so there's that commonality within that. And then those discriminatory practices when it comes to not thinking about people with cerebral palsy or just a physical disability in general, when it comes to making sure that door in the library is, wide enough for those that use wheelchairs. And then if that class is close enough for people that have to walk and can't walk long distances. And so that's what I was getting at. And this is not, like I said, to take away at all from the Black and brown experience or just minority experience at all. But I do believe there is commonality within just having a disability itself that brings us together.
It's interesting because, you would think you had said a point earlier that everybody came together around that commonality. And it isn't so much observation necessarily against an individual, but someone that may have a disability who is white, potentially by this country's experience, could see a Black and brown person with the same disability and literally be, may not be favorable toward their demographic. And the thing to me is, wait, you're being discriminated against for a different reason, but then you still, may have some issues with a Black and brown person or sometimes with someone maybe with a different, disability. And so as you were talking, it transcended into some other spaces where there are inequities. And so I hope I'm being clear around what you triggered in my thought process. But sir, and I want to give you some time before we wrap up to talk about what does the future look like for you? What does the future look like for the Conscious Kid brand? Because I really believe that some years, a couple of years, maybe just months from now, we're going to see a whole different, might turn on CNN one day and see you on there. And I'll be like, I had him first. But what's in the future for the Conscious Kid? And for those of you that are watching, we want to make sure that you know where to go and follow Marlon and the Conscious Kid brand on Instagram. So we're going to leave that up for a few seconds. But what's in the future, brother?
Yeah, so what's in the future, and I'm going to say it's in the works. It's still just an idea that I am planning out. But I really want to, similar to you, start my own podcast. But start my podcast specifically on furthering the conscious kid and the idea of accessible fashion. And so I want to take my own experiences of what I went through growing up, trying to match with the trends, wearing the latest Jordans, and not necessarily promote adaptive clothing, but promote adapting to clothing that is fashionable. So, for example, you might not be able to wear the Jordan 4s, but you can wear the Jordan 5s because the shoe is wide enough to fit your brace into it. And so, just doing those alternatives, as well as now, what's popular amongst like teens and young adults is the baggy pants, which is perfect. I'm glad we're away from
baggy pants is you know that you're old when you let a cycle of fashion come back around again.
Yeah.
Baggy. Okay, we had baggies in my day, then they went to skinny. So the new trend now is baggies again.
Yeah, now it's back to baggy, and which is great because for people with leg braces, it's super hard to put the because the leg brace doesn't bend, and so it's just like a fixed structure into a pant leg that you can get your leg stuck in the skinny jean, and so it's perfect right now. And so just talking about not necessarily adaptive clothing, but alternative clothing that still is within the fashionable trends and things of that nature. That's one of the big things that I really want to start, which we'll probably see in the next by spring of next year. And then the other thing is, now that I've graduated,
What's your degree in? I'm sorry.
So no, you're good. So my degree is in history. It is nothing related to disability. I just have a genuine love.
Wait. Okay. Your degree's in history, not in fashion design, or you were very.
You know what's funny? I see myself as Donald Glover or like Jordan Peele, who like if you guys remember when they first came out with like he did music and then he did his TV show Atlanta, and just like how Jordan Peele was doing comedy and then he did horror movies, and people were like, "How can you make that jump? How are you? You know, people are trying to box you in." And so I have so many different interests that I want to explore. And so, like I said, I got my degree in history solely because I genuinely love history. I tell people all the time that I could literally watch a historical documentary like a TV show. I can watch those back to back. I can read history textbooks. I love history. But I realized that history as a career is not what I want to do. My passion is within disability advocacy and disability empowerment and pride. And so the other thing that I am doing in the near future is I want to start my own for teens and young adults with disabilities, because one of the biggest things that I noticed from my experience, but also, like I said, talking with friends and such, is that age between like, I want to say 15 to 21, or 15 to 21, that age where you can start working. A lot of people don't, with disabilities, don't work, or they're not, they're either excluded from working or, you know, not given the resources to know how to become independent, live independently on their own, things of that nature. So I really want to key in on those independent living skills, such as budgeting, job applications, resume, things like that, because it's a real issue. I'm 25. I have friends that are 24, 25. Not to say, you're never too late necessarily, but there are people that are my age that are just getting into their first job at 24 and 25. And not to say that that's a bad thing, but at the same time, it could have been earlier.
Yep.
It could have been earlier, because my first job was Chick-fil-A at 15. The literally the legal age, I think it was 14 actually. So the bare legal age that you can work is when I started. And my mom always instilled in me that, there are no handouts. Like, so you have to go and work as well. And so one of those things is what I really want to push within the disability community, more specifically the physical disability community, people similar to me, because I see it and I've done it, and so I know it's possible. And so I just really want to help out that community with promoting those job skills. And then you have that experience to elevate into a career, and it helps you want to go to college, college readiness and things of that nature. So you aren't having jobs like, and I don't want to say this, I don't mean this negatively when I say this, but there's potential for you to be more than just, working at Publix or working at, Walmart and things of that nature.
I know where you are.
Yeah.
Yep.
You can be a politician. You can be, a teacher, but people put you in this box that you can, that your skills are only, hands-on. They're not intellectual skills. You're not capable of being a politician. You're not capable of being a doctor, but you are. And it's if they start you early, and if you go through these steps to become, have a career job, and even still with entrepreneurship, because even with me, there's a lot of people that have these ideas but don't know where to start to create their own clothing brand. So just knowing that you can start literally, you don't have to be 18 to start. And so just instilling these things to make you more independent and knowing that you can do these things that you set your mind to.
The interesting thing about that is there's so much confidence that comes that, and please hear my heart when I say this, that I could see you working with someone that gets so much confidence and whatnot that, and I hope I'm not being disrespectful, that their disability becomes secondary. And what I mean by that is it's always going to be there. It's a part of who they are in their life, but they're no longer stifled.
Mm-hmm.
And that being the conditioning of society, boxing them in, for lack of words. I am wifey 711 said thinking outside of the box. And so, sir, we're oh Jesus, it's 9:51. So that means this was a good conversation because I usually wrap up about 9:35, 9:40 if I can. Oh God, Marlon, dude, you. Last question.
Yeah.
Not if, but I want to frame it. How are you going to break into high fashion? What about that woman that has a leg brace, but she wants to wear? Now I might get in trouble, but this is what we used to call them when we were growing up. You ever heard the term hooker boots?
And that's the high waist boots, or is it
Why can't a woman that has a leg brace that wants to wear a pair of Louis Vuitton, Yves Saint Laurent, when and how are you going to break into high fashion?
So that's a great question. And so one of the things that's when I would use those adaptive elements. So
Okay. Yep.
Uh-huh. And so, for example, there are ways where the leg brace, it's a zipper. So there's this is I'm gonna shout them out. Billy Footwear. They're a really good shoe brand for people that use AFOs. And basically their secret is that there is a zipper that goes all the way across the entire shoe that just opens up completely. So you just place your foot in there. And so you don't have to worry about, shoving your foot into the actual shoe. It just opens up like a sandwich almost. It just opens up. And so that would be one of the ways that I would be adaptive when it comes to high fashion and things of that nature.
Somebody over on Instagram wanted to make sure I didn't use that term no more. Thigh high boots. Thigh high is what you, but growing up, that's the term that I use. But anyway, we'll do better at saying thigh high. But sir, Pharrell, others, I see them seeking you out to ensure that their fashion shows, their fashion, their anything that someone that doesn't have a unique ability or disability should be able to tap into. And so I'm looking for the day, man, where you hit me up and be like, yo, Jimmy, thanks for the lookout. They told me I could bring 5 people to Paris. You want to come cover my first show? Dude, because you have the mentality and the spirit of being humble. Someone said in the comments earlier that you have a humble spirit. And we haven't heard the last from you yet. We have not heard the last from you. I'm looking forward to hearing more. Now that you're out of school.
Yeah.
So let me get you off of here before we start doing a rally to, how can I say this? I want you to think of so we could do a rally to get you more apples. You know what I'm talking about. Nah, man. Bro, I appreciate you being here with us today. You were an inspiration to many. There's a young lady by the name of Belinda, who you've inspired that's doing some things. Stan recently is dealing with a disability. So with that said, Stan said, do you ever see yourself making suits?
Yes, because I love dress. I tell people all the time I love dressing up too. Like any chance I can get to put on a suit, I will. So yes, that is definitely in the future. I'm gonna say that.
Okay.
I gotta find the right people to collaborate with in order to do that. But yes, that's definitely an issue within the disability community is finding suits and things of that, like formal dressing. Mm-hmm.
They are coming, sir. They are coming. And I hope just from this I hope somebody jumps on YouTube or something and sees something and seeks you out. So, Marlon, thank you for being with us today. Folks, don't forget that you can go to Instagram to follow him. Also, locally or regionally, if you know of some young people that could use either some consultation or just advice, reach out to him. And you need to set up some consultation prices too. So, because, all this stuff ain't for free. So, Brother Marlon, thank you, man. Please keep in touch with us as you progress in the fashion world. Dude, I'm waiting to see your brand on the runway or you come out. Yo, you know how the designers come out at the end of the show? Mm-hmm. How dope would it be that as folks are coming out, there's a combo of wheelchairs, forearm canes?
Yeah, forearm crutches.
Forearm crutches. Maybe someone with a prosthetic. Mm-hmm. Maybe someone who is blind, and that be the tunnel in which you come through, sir. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that for you, man. So thank you for being with us today and helping us get a whole different perspective with Disabilities Awareness Month. I didn't want to do anything traditional. You asked, how did y'all find me as Marlon versus the brand? But we're glad to have you here, man. And we're here. Just keep us abreast and aware of what you're doing. Don't forget, when Pharrell hits you up, just remember little brother here. I'll carry a bag or something, just remember the little people when you blow up.
I will.
All right. Marlon, thank you, man. Any last words from you before we go?
Any last words? Only thing that I can think of is to embrace your identity. That's one of the big things that really fueled my passion and fueled my motivation to get this going, is to really take pride in who you are and what you bring to the table, because you do bring something to the table. And finding those people that can work with you to elevate your pridefulness within your identity,
yes,
just your identity in general, definitely keep those people close. That's what
thank you. And I can see why I Am Wifey corrected me from that word to thigh high. She said I'm Marlon's aunt. So
yeah,
Auntie, please excuse me. It was all in love. But you got a real support system over there on Instagram and other spaces as well. So thank you for being with us, brother. And again, shout us out and let us know what you're doing and as you progress. And again, Louis Vuitton, Pharrell, and others. I'm waiting, but I'm also waiting for your high-end collection to come out. So with that being said, appreciate you, Black man. Thank you for being with us today.
Thank you.
Folks, if you were not inspired by that time with Marlon right there, then I don't know what it's going to take for you to be inspired. Oh, well, maybe that we got a Black woman that raised the most money in a day running for president. I'm not going to get into that. But no. That brother got something with him. And I really, man, listen. I see that man doing some great things. Miss Maddie Deed is in the building, embracing my identity. Congrats on your distinguished guest, Marlon Moore. I am just tuning in. Good to see you, Mother Deed. This is the mother, you guys, of Naisha Deed that has been with us. She's always out in community and holding it down. Belinda said suits. I can't wait to see it. Support. What's this? Oh, there go Belinda with the Cash App. Sharon Cornelius is in the building as well. I think I saw Mama Java, Miss Teresa, Michelle. Who else did I see? Naraki, Anissa, Stan. Good to see you in the room, brother. Sister Debbie, Pam is in the building. Good morning to you. I think I got everybody this morning. Sister Debbie, I think I got Opal. Good morning to you, Nicole. Nicole, how's your baby? Good to see everybody in the building this morning. I saw a post on social media, so just checking in about your baby. Folks, that's it for me this morning. Tomorrow morning, we have Brother Kareem that's going to come and talk about a lot of the public health work that he did in research down on Mass and Cass and the impacts. Inspirational young brother as well. And so we're going to get him in the room tomorrow as well. And Thursday, we're going to continue the conversation around wellness. So this is a very interesting time. Marlon just went on and jumped over on Instagram. Good to see you over here, brother. My mother just went on Instagram. Ma, you jump between Facebook and Instagram. Got to spend some time with my mother yesterday. 2 months late for Mother's Day. We went out to eat, but Ma, love you. Got to see Miss Teresa yesterday. And as she always does, holding me down, came with a bag. But anyway, that's it for me this morning. Have a blessed day, you too, Michelle. Absolutely, Stan. Well, what is it? I don't know what it is. But I don't know what I said, Belinda. But yes, we're going to get off of here. Oh, you talking about the Cash App. Look, his aunt or somebody over on Instagram. All right, this is this brother's Cash App. It is TCK. Oh, that's easy. $ TCK brand. And Marlon, if you're still watching, we've been known to raise some money here in the Java Cafe. So TCK brand, brother Marlon's Cash App. Okay. So if you would like to donate to brother Marlon's work, you can do so here. TCK, did I get it right? TCK brand, we don't want your money going to the wrong person. TCK brand, that is his Cash App. TCK brand, send a Cash App there, $3, $5, $10, $300, $3 million. Support the work that this brother is doing. All right. And Marlon, I'm when you go to Paris, you let me know. TCK brand. That it. Belinda's Happy Tale is terrible. Belinda already went on probably went and looked up the brand on the Cash App and was already putting it in the comments. Yes, Belinda, it's TCK brand. And Stan, I would DM him. I heard you said you finally got on Instagram. DM him on Instagram and just check in and see what he's doing and how you can support either locally up here or check with him and see if you can do something up here with Dream. Belinda, your millions are coming because you're always so supportive. Yesenia, good morning. Good to see you in the room. All right, folks. Treese, too, good to see you in the room. Thanks. Great information. I've learned a lot this morning, and that is the goal. Bring information and awareness to the community so they can have it and also be mobilized toward action, toward an equitable life for everyone. That's our mission. So, all right. Now Sharon Cornelius went and jumped over on Instagram. I'm getting off of here, y'all. We'll see you guys tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. UCB. Y'all actually get an hour today because it's 10:03. So get your points for watching today. You get an hour. We'll see you guys tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Have a great day, everybody. And thanks for being with us. And we'll talk to you soon. Peace.